Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Cannon, and I am a technical account manager at Voucherify, which is a headless loyalty, referral, and offer engine. So ultimately what that means is that our platform allows customers to create their own custom loyalty programs, referral programs, and other offers that can be presented to their end customers through virtually any front-end touch point. And we partner with platforms like Twilio Segment and Engage in order to create engaging and personalized offers and to be able to share them with customers at the right time, through the right channel, and with the right offer. Now, today I'm here to show you how tools like Segment, Engage, and Voucherify can work together in partnership to turn data into loyalty and to move away from the one-size-fits-all loyalty programs of the past. Now, to start things off, I'd like to set the stage first with a look at where loyalty has been and where loyalty is going. So we all know the traditional earn and burn loyalty programs of the past, right? You make a purchase, you get some points for the purchase. This is typically proportional to the amount that you've spent, and then you can exchange those points for what is usually a generic offer. So maybe a cashback discount or the option to choose between a few pre-selected offers, maybe something like free item coupons in exchange for a set number of points. And these types of programs do function fine. You know, they're meant to incentivize sales and transactions, and that's what they do. However, the scope there is purely transactional. And when your relationship with your customers is purely transactional and about the dollars and cents, that's not real loyalty. If your customers are just interested in getting the most points or the deepest discount for their loyalty, there's really nothing keeping them as a customer of yours if a competitor comes out tomorrow and offers more points or a greater discount. Then the only way to compete is to discount further and further until you're really impacting your margin and ultimately your brand credibility. So that brings us to modern loyalty. That's less transactional and more experiential and relationship-based. Now, of course, we still want to incentivize purchases, but modern loyalty engages with customers at touch points beyond just that point of purchase. So we're looking at pre-sale, post-sale, and everything in between and beyond to interaction points that are not just exclusively commerce related. Now, at Twilio's Signal conference that I attended recently a few weeks ago, there was a really great statistic that was shared in Twilio's consumer preference report that consumers are willing to spend 32% more on brands and with brands that use their preferred communication channels. And I think that's a really crucial insight to see that customers are no longer purely fiscally motivated, but they really see value in building relationships with brands and the importance of being engaged in the way that they'd like to be engaged with. So this really becomes a two-way relationship and conversation. And we can see kind of a very high-level example of what this type of conversation can look like here. So let's say we have a customer browsing sneakers on a website. Tools like Twilio's Segment CDP can immediately track that captured behavior in real time and use this action to enrich a customer profile that becomes more and more refined as the customer interacts through different touch points. So think of how the more that you talk to ChatGPT, the more personalized and relevant the responses are, right? As it's pulling from more and more personal historic knowledge that it has from your prior conversations. Same type of concept here with a CDP like Segment. So in addition to seeing this real-time sneaker browse, we might see that this customer has browsed sneakers 3 times in the last week, and that historically they've been a valued customer with a high average order value, but they haven't purchased in over 30 days. So we might be able to see also based on prior log traits that this customer historically has reacted favorably to personalized abandoned cart or abandoned browse activation style offers based on that prior browsing history. Now, in combination, each of these attributes and traits together might place this customer then in a segment to be eligible to receive a retargeting offer for those shoes. So once that final attribute or that event is updated in place to place the customer in this segment, this can be sent in real time to a promotional offer engine like Voucherify that can then immediately publish, say, an individual personal offer code from the appropriate dynamic campaign, in this case, a sneaker discount, that we can send to the customer in real time using a tool like Engage through email, text, or maybe even an immediate on website or on mobile app push notification. So let's say then the customer sees this personal offer code, they use that code to purchase the sneakers, and that redemption is then sent back from the offer engine like Voucherify in a real-time webhook to Segment to close the loop and add another attribute to that customer's profile that can then be used for future engagement. As we can see that this type of offer resonated with them, they redeemed it, right? So we can get these conversion rate statistics from that publication to redemption rate through engines like Voucherify, so we can start to learn what types of offers resonate with which groups of customers and which individual customers. So this is just a very quick example of how all of this rich amount of customer data that we now have and now can capture through tools like Segment helps fill in those historic blind spots of legacy loyalty programs, where that view of the customer profile really only boiled down to a very tiny sliver of time directly at the point of purchase. So we knew when customers purchased, how much they spent, but really that was about it. Now we have insight into every step of the customer's journey with your brand and the ability to send dynamic and timely personal messages in the process. So I'll talk a little bit now about, kind of 3 different buckets of ways that data from CDPs like Segment can be used to personalize loyalty, offers, and brand engagements, and give a brief practical overview of how to actually enable this right away. So we'll start here from the very beginning of customers' loyalty journey with your brand, the enrollment into the program. So we now have the ability to determine, different intent actions from customers that can be used to auto-enroll them into your loyalty program, eliminating points of friction and that tedious task of the form submission. Now, welcome offers or welcome points, those have been, historically very popular way of enticing customers into programs and thanking them for, taking that first step with you. And we can still build off this familiar pattern, but now in a more personalized way. So based on previous attributes or intent signals we've gathered on each customer, we can tailor different welcome messages, offers, or other non-fiscal benefits and incentives accordingly. And a little later on, I'll talk more about what some of those kind of non-monetary or non-fiscal benefits can look like. Now, with Segment, this type of automated opt-in and welcome flow can be very simple to set up. So you can use Identify to update user traits. Those will be your customer attributes, and Track to capture user behaviors. So those will be your customer actions and events. And then use these in tandem to create a detailed user profile and define the right combination to trigger entry of a customer into an opt-in segments, entry of which can then trigger a call to a loyalty engine like Voucherify to assign the customer into the loyalty program and to simultaneously publish the appropriate welcome offer or simple welcome message, personalized to their preferences that can be shared through a tool like Twilio Engage automatically and in real time. Now, once we have our customer profiles established in Segment, we can begin to track engagement and actions, not just at the point of purchase, but again, pre-purchase, post-purchase, everywhere in between, again, including those engagement opportunities and relationship building steps with your brand that don't necessarily relate to purchases at all. So this could be things like leaving a review or following or posting on social media, attending an event. So tracking these actions in real time, you can engage with customers as these actions are happening. So your customers can really feel that live, dynamic, two-way communication. They know they're being seen and being appreciated by your brand beyond just their dollar value. So in tools like Voucherify as an offer engine, you can set up offers or bonus points for customers completing these actions. But again, this can also just be a simple real-time message sent through Engage, thanking the customer for engaging with you. That real-time message through customers' preferred channels, which we know they value through Twilio's consumer preference report, shows them that they're being seen and their loyalty and engagement is valued. Now, all of these types of non-purchase actions like reviews, referrals, social engagements, these can all be captured through Segment's Track API. And in real time, these events can be sent via the Segment event stream to promotion engines like Voucherify. Now, Voucherify can have distribution triggers ready to send out offers or loyalty points when these events occur, and in real time send webhook updates on this to Engage to trigger messages updating customers on what they've unlocked, or even just to give, again, a simple thank you in real time through the right channel. Now, the last area here that I'll discuss today for some ideas on how to turn data into personalized loyalty. This section is my favorite because this is where we add a little bit more contextual nuance using computed traits to define loyalty triggers. So this context is very important for meaningful offers. We've all been there where, say you're browsing for something that's a bit of a one-time purchase, kind of out of your norm, not something you're going to really need to buy again or buy again for a while, maybe a lawnmower, for example. And then forevermore, you're getting ads for lawnmowers, right? Not a great customer experience and ultimately bad personalization. Now, if we think back to that sneakers offer that I showcased earlier, that's a really good example of how computed traits and contextual full customer profiles, taking into account multiple customer attributes, events, and traits, can be important in determining and creating meaningful offers. So, we don't necessarily want to bombard every single person who looks at sneakers with a sneaker offer, right? We want to make sure there's real intent there. So maybe that they viewed sneakers 3 or more times within the last week. And we also want to give this customer, the offer to customers who have been proven purchasers before and just need a little bit of nudge. So that's where we look at that contextual AOV and, maybe days since last purchase and what types of promotions historically have worked to re-engage this particular customer. Then when each of these criteria together are met, then we can trigger that dynamic computed offer. And we can also use these types of computed traits to build scorecard or mission style programs. So incentivizing customers to take multiple different types of actions a certain number of times. And these can be the digital version of the legacy, kind of transactional stamp card programs, right? Buy 10 coffees, get one free. But they can also be used to incentivize those non-transactional engagement opportunities we've been talking about, right? Come to an activation event, follow us on socials. Something from my perspective that is interesting that I've been seeing more and more customers start to do is to create many different personalized mission tracks within the umbrella of a single loyalty program. So, depending on your customer's initial intent indications, you can define different engagement paths and opportunities and missions for different customers that have different tasks and different rewards and incentives as well. So, I give the social engagement example a lot, but that could be one journey path, right? Follow us, repost us, comment. And that may be different from the customers who've given intent to, be on that purely transactional mission track, right? Make X number of purchases, get X reward. Now, earlier I had mentioned, non-transactional incentives that may be of a ton of value depending on the customer profile that you're working with. So, for many customers, things like first access and review of new products, pre-sale access, exclusive events, these can all be extremely valuable and really show them that the brand values them and treats them with the benefit a loyal customer deserves in ways beyond simple discounting. Now, bringing this all together in Segment, we're simply building on the attributes and events that we've tracked before, and then adding in those contextual calculations to see how many times these events have occurred, in what time frame, and with what value. Now, Segment will perform these calculations automatically and in real time. So as soon as that correct count hits that a customer has, browsed shoes 3 times or not purchased in 30 days, and, perhaps the 2 in tandem together, this segment flag or these events directly via the event stream, as we've shown already, can be sent in real time to offer engines and engagement tools to use this real-time context to meaningfully and immediately connect with customers. Thank you for watching today. If you would like to learn more about anything we've discussed here today, please reach out to your Twilio or Voucherify representative, and we would be more than happy to chat further on all things dynamic, data-driven loyal strategy. Thank you.